Have you ever wondered if one of Jesus' closest disciples could still be walking among us today? Could it be possible that the Apostle John, the very one who leaned on Jesus' chest at the Last Supper, the one entrusted with the visions of Revelation, is still alive somewhere in this world? And if so, why has this mystery remained hidden for over 2,000 years? Many believe that John died peacefully at an old age. But what if that's not the full story? What if there are biblical clues, ancient writings, and mysterious testimonies that suggest otherwise? What if we have misunderstood one of the most cryptic statements Jesus ever made about John, one that hints at something truly shocking? This is not just another religious theory. The question of whether John the Beloved is still alive today has been debated for centuries, and the evidence is far more intriguing than most people realize. Today, we are going to dive deep into scriptural secrets, historical mysteries, and shocking revelations that could change everything you thought you knew about this disciple of Jesus. Stay with me until the end, because the truth behind this question might just leave you speechless. And before we go any further, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment below if you want more deep dives into biblical mysteries like this one. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. To truly understand this mystery, we need to go back to the very words of Jesus himself. In John 21:20-23, we find one of the most cryptic and debated passages in the entire New Testament. After his resurrection, Jesus appears to Peter and gives him a prophecy about his own death, telling him that he would be led where he did not want to go, a clear reference to Peter's eventual crucifixion. But then something strange happens. Peter, turning around, sees John following them and asks, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus replies with a statement that has baffled scholars, theologians, and historians for centuries. "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? You must follow me." John himself records what happened next. Because of this, the rumor spread among the believers that this disciple would not die. But Jesus did not say that he would not die. He only said, "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you?" This passage raises serious questions. Why would Jesus say this? Was he hinting at something deeper, something beyond human comprehension? Notice that John never explicitly denies the possibility. He simply clarifies that Jesus did not say directly that he would never die. But here's the key. If Jesus had said something similar about another disciple, it probably wouldn't have sparked such widespread speculation. Yet for over 2,000 years, believers, scholars, and even church historians have questioned whether John ever actually died. Could it be that Jesus was revealing a profound mystery hidden in plain sight? One of the most fascinating facts about John is that he was the only one of Jesus' 12 disciples who was not martyred. History tells us that Peter was crucified upside down. James was executed by the sword. Thomas was speared to death in India. Every one of the disciples met a violent end, except John. According to early church tradition, the Romans attempted to kill John by boiling him alive in oil. This was meant to be a public execution, much like the martyrdom of the other apostles. But something incredible happened. John did not die. Ancient accounts suggest that he was thrown into a vat of boiling oil, but miraculously, he came out unharmed. Unable to kill him, the Romans banished him to the island of Patmos, where he later received the visions of Revelation. This already sets John apart in a supernatural way. Why did God allow John to escape death when all the others were martyred? Could it be that John had a unique calling, one that extended far beyond his own time? Unlike Peter, Paul, and the other apostles, there is no clear historical record of John's death. Most early Christian writers claim that he lived to a very old age, possibly over 100 years. But here's where things get really mysterious. Unlike the graves of Peter, Paul, and other biblical figures, John's final resting place is a mystery. There are claims that he was buried in Ephesus, but there is no actual body, no confirmed tomb, no relics, nothing that definitively proves that John ever died. This is highly unusual. The early church made sure to preserve the sites of key Christian leaders, yet when it comes to John, his disappearance remains unexplained. Could this mean that he never died? If John had an extraordinary destiny, could he have simply vanished from historical records for a reason? Imagine walking through a quiet monastery. The stone walls lined with ancient manuscripts, the air thick with the scent of candle wax and aged parchment. A lone monk sits in the corner, an elderly man with piercing eyes, his face lined with centuries of wisdom. He speaks, not like a man who has merely studied the scriptures, but like one who was there, who walked beside Jesus, who saw the miracles firsthand, who witnessed the crucifixion with his own eyes. Could it be that such an encounter has actually happened? That somewhere in the depths of history, John the Beloved has been seen, walking among men, untouched by time? For centuries, stories have emerged, whispers of a mysterious figure, a man of extraordinary wisdom and ageless presence, appearing in unexpected places, offering insight, then vanishing without a trace. These accounts come not from casual storytellers, but from devout monks, Christian mystics, and even church leaders who claim to have met someone unlike any other, a man who spoke of Christ as if he had just ascended yesterday. Could these be encounters with John himself? Could the beloved disciple of Jesus still be walking this earth, hidden among us, waiting for the fulfillment of a divine mission? This idea isn't as far-fetched as it seems. The Bible gives us powerful precedents, figures who were taken away by God, seemingly untouched by death. Elijah never saw the grave. Enoch was taken by God and was no more. If these figures could escape death, why not John? And why would Jesus himself leave behind a statement that would fuel such an extraordinary possibility? The mission of an immortal disciple? Many scholars and believers speculate that John may have been given a supernatural assignment, one that extends beyond the limits of human mortality. If John was set apart by Jesus for a unique destiny, could he have been entrusted with a role far greater than we can comprehend? Some believe that John is one of the two witnesses mentioned in Revelation 11, those who will stand in Jerusalem during the final days, performing miracles, preaching repentance, and ultimately being slain by the forces of the Antichrist. The Bible describes these witnesses as possessing extraordinary power, able to shut the heavens, turn water into blood, and strike the earth with plagues. Their deaths will be a spectacle to the world, but after 3 days, they will be resurrected and taken up to heaven before the eyes of all. Could John be one of these figures? Could he have been preserved for the end of days, awaiting the moment when he will stand as a final voice of truth against the forces of darkness? Others propose a different yet equally fascinating possibility, that John was not meant to be one of the two witnesses, but rather a hidden guardian of the church, silently moving through history, guiding and influencing believers in ways we may never fully grasp. A mysterious figure moving through time. History is filled with unexplained sightings of mysterious strangers, men who appeared out of nowhere, possessing deep knowledge of biblical prophecy, speaking as though they had seen Jesus face to face. Some of these accounts have been dismissed as legends, but others are so striking, so eerily consistent, that they demand deeper examination. One such story tells of a monk in the Middle Ages who met a man of extraordinary wisdom, someone who spoke of Jesus not as a distant historical figure, but as an intimate personal friend. The monk, confused, pressed the stranger on how he knew so much. The old man simply smiled and walked away. When the monk turned to call him back, he was gone. Could this have been John? There are even whispers among certain Eastern Christian traditions that John has appeared to small groups of believers in remote areas, revealing truths about Scripture and reminding them to remain faithful until the return of Christ. Some have even linked John to the mysterious wandering Jew legend, a tale of a man cursed to roam the earth until the second coming. While this legend has many variations, its core theme, a man who never dies, never ages, and is waiting for Christ's return, bears an uncanny resemblance to what Jesus said about John in John 21:22. Could it be that John's mission is not to be seen on the grand stage, but rather to be a hidden force, a silent observer, influencing events from behind the veil of history? The special group that will see Christ's return revelation speaks of a special group of believers who will endure until the very end, those who will witness the return of Christ firsthand. Some believe that John, as the beloved disciple, was granted the ultimate gift to remain alive until he could see Jesus return in glory. Jesus' words in John 21:22 remain an open-ended mystery. If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? Could Jesus have been referring to his second coming? If so, John could very well be alive today, waiting, watching, preparing. The idea may seem beyond belief, but we must remember that we serve a supernatural God, a God who has already parted seas, raised the dead, and defied the very laws of nature. If John was meant to remain until Christ's return, then it means he is somewhere on this earth right now. He could be in a remote monastery, hidden in the mountains, or walking unnoticed among the crowds of modern society. What if you have already crossed paths with him and never even realized it? What if the man sitting quietly in the back of a church, the old scholar browsing through an ancient manuscript in a forgotten library, the mysterious figure seen only briefly before disappearing into the mist? What if that was John? A question that demands an answer. This mystery has remained unsolved for over 2,000 years, and perhaps it is meant to remain that way, at least until the appointed time. But if John the Beloved is still alive, then his very existence serves as a powerful sign that the return of Christ is near. Could it be that his presence is a divine countdown, a signal that we are approaching the final moments of human history? Could it be that when he finally reveals himself, it will be one of the greatest signs that the end is at hand? If this is true, then what does it mean for us today? It means that we must wake up. It means that prophecy is real, and we are living in the most critical hour of human history. Whether John is still alive or not, one thing is certain: Jesus' return is closer than we think. And if John is out there, somewhere, watching the world unfold, waiting for the moment when all things will be fulfilled, then we must also be watching. Because whether or not John remains, one thing is undeniable: the words of Jesus will come true, and the end will come. Are you ready for that moment? Are you prepared to stand firm in the final days? This isn't just a question of biblical history. It's a question of eternal destiny. Let me know in the comments what you think. Could John the Beloved still be alive today? Have we misunderstood Jesus' words, or is there a deeper mystery at play? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Because if John is still out there, the time to wake up is now.